Now the first topic here, the first chapter talks about the rise of nationalism in Europe. Now as we said during our lectures in the independent classes, we talked about how nationalism worked around in Europe, but French Revolution was a key. So French Revolution and its development from class 9th are very important. Don't miss those. Now in this, the first important thing is the idea of nation state. How we talked about a common identity, a shared history, and we developed our progress. The next, under French Revolution, we had certain key aspects that talked about equal rights to the citizens, the concept of equality, the concept of flag, the concept of symbols for nationalist movements. So all those were included here. We would also talk about the rise and the fall of Napoleon. So we had discussed how the rise and the fall of Napoleon occurred. Again, the important aspect here is, when we are talking about the rise and the fall of Napoleon, we are understanding the basic developments that Napoleon brought about. So there were two important developments. First was a common currency that was started, and the second was the common unit for the weights and measures. Along with that, there were other aspects like abolition of feudalism. So those things came up with the developments which were seen as the developments from Napoleon, but later on Napoleon's rule was considered as a harsh rule or a kind of dictator rule, and you had a rebellion that took place. So he brought around the civil code of 1804, that is again important. So you have Europe during the Treaty of Vienna that could be seen here. Now under this chapter, two important aspects are there. The first is, the next important thing is unification. So this idea of nationalism led to unification. Now under unification, we would talk about unification of Germany and unification of Italy. So two main leaders under that. For unification of Germany, you have Bismarck. For unification of Italy, you have Mazzini, and later on Garibaldi. Garibaldi had his volunteers who formed an army in the name of Red Shirts. That's again important. Now you had Mazzini, who formed two groups. One was Young Italy in Marseilles and Young Europe in Bern. So sometimes there could be a kind of direct short question on that. Similar to the developments in Italy and Germany, you had the unification that was going on in the regions of Balkan. So in the regions of Balkan states, you had various ethnic groups that were living, and various countries were trying to establish their hold over the Balkan states. So those were again a kind of disputed areas where nationalism awoke. The next important thing is the idea of liberal nationalism. In this chapter, liberalism comes from the word liber, which in Latin means free. So it's basically freedom of individual and equality before the law. That was the basic idea under liberal nationalism. Then you had universal suffrage. Initially, only the men with property had the right to vote. Later on, under the Jacobean Club, we saw all adults had the right to vote. Under Napoleon, the things changed again, and then the things changed again. So those were the kind of developments for the right to vote or universal suffrage that we talk about. After 1815, after the fall of Napoleon, you had a movement of conservatism that started. After the conservatism, the idea was to maintain the traditions along with the amalgamation of the modern ideas that are coming into the society. And finally, you had the Treaty of Vienna that was signed, and Napoleon was defeated. So after the defeat of Napoleon, you had the Treaty of Vienna. And this Treaty of Vienna tried to keep a check on the expansion of the French territories. So you had too many revolutions that break out during that time. You had the July Revolution in France, then you had the Greek War of Independence, after which you had the Treaty of Constantinople that was signed, and Greece became an independent nation. Similarly, you had some important feelings that were emerging during that time. So during that time, you had the feelings of romanticism that was emerging. Similarly, patriotism, national symbols, national flags, you had music, painting. So all those were the means of spreading the ideas, spreading the views, and unifying people in different ways. Again, women also joined the force. So you had unification of Germany, and German National Assembly was formed with 831 elected representatives. some of the women who played a major role as political activists are important. So you have Otto Peters, which is again important. So unification was considered under two aspects. One was the suppression or the repressions, I could say, of the monarch system that was existing. The military that was very strong during that time, and it was also supported by the large landowners. What was the name of these large landowners? They were known as Junkers. So that's again a very important question that could be asked for a kind of short answer question. So Italy unification we have already talked about. So Italy was during that time divided into 7 states. The unification was important, and we were trying to understand the unification by means of the efforts put in by Mazzini and Garibaldi during that time. Now Britain also had numerous sects. So you had Welsh, Scot, England, Irish as different communities, and what English was trying to do was to influence Scotland during that time and remove the kind of Catholics or suppress the Catholic movements there. Similarly, there was a movement in Ireland between Catholics and Protestants, and finally Ireland was incorporated into UK. There were new symbols, so new national anthem, new language as English during that time, and British flag that became popular. Again, to spread the feeling of nationalism, there were female figures that were made as allegory, and those were known as Marigny in France and Germania in German. So that's again a very important development. The third chapter we would focus on nationalism in India. When we are talking about nationalism in India, we would talk about the development. So 1915 was the time when Gandhiji came back to India from South Africa. So when Mahatma Gandhi came back to India from South Africa, there were 3 important happenings. One was the movement against or movement in Champaran, the second was the Kheda movement, and the third was the Ahmedabad textile mill movement in the subsequent years, and finally the Rowlatt Act, where the people were allowed detention without any trial for 2 years. So there was a lot of opposition for this Rowlatt Act. As a result, you had the Jallianwala Bagh protest that started, and General Dyer fired in Jallianwala Bagh. So Gandhiji considered this to be a violent incident and called back the non-cooperation movement that was started with the Rowlatt Act. However, later on, with Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali, he started the Khilafat movement, and during the Khilafat movement, there was again an idea to start upon the non-cooperation movement. So very important to note, you first had the non-cooperation movement and later on there was civil disobedience movement. The difference between the two is very important. Under non-cooperation, Mahatma Gandhi said that we will not cooperate with the British government. However, under civil disobedience, he said that we will start to break the laws in order to attain our rights. And therefore, you had the salt satyagraha that was a very important part of civil disobedience movement. So here you had the Khilafat issue and the kind of Khilafat movement against the harsh treaties on Khalifa who was defeated and who was basically the ruler of Ottoman Empire in Turkey during that time. So people started to surrender their titles. Rabindranath Tagore surrendered the title of knighthood. People boycotted civil services, foreign goods, khadi was adopted, but khadi again was only meant for the rich and a few. It was not a necessity for a common people. The next important developments were in the common regions. So you had the developments in Awadh, the developments in Gundam Hills region of Andhra Pradesh, and then you had the Inland Migration Act, where plantation workers were not allowed to leave the plantation site without permission. So those 3 developments again put a fire onto the existing phenomena, and you had the Chauri Chaura incidents. After this Chauri Chaura incidents, the things came up to be more violent and Gandhiji called back the non-cooperation movement again. So those were the developments till the non-cooperation movement. But during that time, the world was witnessing a severe economic depression of 1930s. Along with that, you had the Tory government in Britain, and that government was forcing to pass the Simon Commission. However, this Simon Commission did not had any Indian delegate, and therefore it was treated with the slogan Simon Go Back. So with those developments, you had a letter to Irwin, who was the viceroy during that time, that was written, under which 11 demands were made. One of the demands was to abolish the tax on salt, which is a common man's need. However, when this was not considered, Gandhiji, along with his followers, started the civil disobedience movement with the salt satyagraha. This salt satyagraha took place from Sabarmati to Dandi for 24 days, and people walked around 10 miles per day to cover a distance of 240 miles. When they reached the seashore, they broke the laws and they started to make up their own salt. Finally, Mahatma Gandhi was called for a pact or a treaty, and it was known as the Gandhi Iron Pact, and he was again called for the second round table conference, but he could not find success in the second round table conference. As a result, he came back to India disappointed, and when he came back, he saw many of the leaders were in jail during that time. So this protest of civil disobedience continued during that time, and again there were sects who were not in favor of the movement, or who were not in support of the movement that Gandhiji has started. So mainly the untouchables or the Dalits or the oppressed during that time were not in favor of the ideas that were being laid by Mahatma Gandhi. Then there was conflict because they wanted a kind of separate electorate that should be reserved for them, and that was not a case because Gandhiji believed that this would further create differences among the society rather than bringing the society together. Similarly, Jinnah during that time demanded a kind of separate electorate, but he again was not given that, and finally certain representation was given to the Muslim population in the Muslim dominated provinces, and reservations of the seats were made in Central Assembly for the Muslims. So those were the developments that took place. However, there were Hindu-Muslim differences that grew up, but along with this, there was the idea of nationalism that was growing up. So with this idea of nationalism, you had importantly the Swadeshi movement, you had the worship of India as a figure. So Bharat Mata was a figure that was considered. Gandhiji designed his own Swaraj flag, and there was reinterpretation of history that was considered.